head over to the YouTube. Actually, I'm gonna look at the live stream as well, just to be on point as well.
All right. Let's see here.
All
And
right.
there it is. Okay, we are already live. All right, let's get cracking. Yo, 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 what is good, YouTube? What is good, gamers? It is your boy Lincoln Clay coming back at you with another edition of the Lincoln Show. Yo, let's be one cohesive unit and hit that like button. Help spread my content to a wider audience. I would like that. I would appreciate it. And make sure you hit the bell icon to help spread my. Make sure you stay notified whenever I put out new content. I would appreciate that as well. If you're a new subscriber, welcome to the channel. I hope you're enjoying the content. And as promised, on tonight on the Lincoln Show, we have a very special guest in Carlos Fernandez. Welcome to the show, my friend. Go ahead and shoot your intro.
Hey man, it's your boy Type R87, aka Carlos Fernandez, gamer by choice, not by trend, and we're here on the Lake and Clay Show. And let's get into these topics and let's talk about gaming.
All right, that's what's up. Before we get into these topics, the chat is open. I'm monitoring the chats. I'll try to answer questions as best I can. Also, I want to forewarn everybody that Carlos was gracious enough to join us from work. So hopefully there won't be any interference from their Wi-Fi. Hopefully there won't be botting and stuff like that. But we'll make do. So and I've got some interesting questions. So let me pull these up. So before I get into these questions, I want to warn the audience that these questions are all gaming related, but nonetheless, they may rub some people the wrong way, uh, given their preferred platform and the current state. That's what's been going on the last couple of days. So it is what it is. It is gaming related, for better or for worse. So we'll start from where you from, bro?
I'm actually from the Bronx, right here in New York City.
Oh yeah, you still there now?
You can hear me, Clay?
Yep, yep. Are you still in the Bronx now?
Yeah, I'm still living in the Bronx, Manhattan. You know, earning the paper and just trying to make a living, man, just like any other person on this planet.
You got that right. There's a saying though. You do it for bread and meat. You don't do it, you don't eat.
Yep, plain and simple.
Yep, Mr. Righteous, what's good? Savage Uger, what's good?
Hey,
So,
fellas, how y'all doing?
so, um, so getting into the gaming news, what is your preferred platform?
My preferred platform. There's so many, but I mostly play on PlayStation. That's my go-to for everything else. As far as playing other platforms, I do own an Xbox One, your old Xbox One. I still have my old Xbox One OG system from 2002. I still have a 360, PS3, PS2, PS1, Nintendo Wii, and I mean, I'm an avid gamer, man. I also have a PC, so that's where my whole scenario is at. I don't have a preferred choice of to say as far as like one thing. I play multiple games. I can't, stay on one system alone. But my
Oh,
preferred system is the PS4.
okay. Uh, so yeah, maybe I should have asked that a different way. As may rather, what have you been gaming on the most lately? Probably would have been a better question. Uh, so, um, so I'm sure that you are aware of the situation with State of Decay 2.
Oh, I'm pretty much in tune into that one, man. And Twitter has been nothing but damage control and people just stating that it's not even released, that it's, practically an unfinished game. So was Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves was practically an unfinished game, and you were charged $60 for an unfinished game. Same scenario for PUBG. PUBG was a unfinished beta game, and people had to fork over $30. And look where the state of Xbox gaming is at right now.
Yeah, I find that mind-boggling that Microsoft actually sells broken and incomplete games. and put that asterisk on it that the game is in a preview, so they can't take any blame for any problems that they may incur. So with the State of Decay, you've got the frame drops, the bugs, the glitches. With the glitches, I've heard stuff like the co-op team might be riding in a car, and it might be flickering on and off like a light switch. And another thing that's got people upset is that the host, the co-op team, is tethered to the host basically by an invisible rope. Where he goes, you must go. If you stray,
Wow, that
yes.
that 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 really sucks, man. Because I was hoping to play this game and actually enjoy it. I was really hoping for a solid performing game, something that was going to be something that Xbox is doing the right thing for the gamers. But as far as from like that review from Eurogaming, it really shed a light on certain aspects of that game that they need to fix promptly before the release. They have to. It's something that's necessary. I mean, practically gamers need to speak up on these and stop forking money over. Don't be so blind to the actual truth. If you see that there's something wrong with this game and you're testing it as a beta tester, let Microsoft know. Listen, hey, I'm not happy with the state of the game. I'm not happy with how it's performing. I'm not happy at all with how the product is coming at to the end. Because I remember back what I think it was like 2013, 2012 when we had Battlefield 3. We signed up for the testing of that game, and I actually put some input into the game. And to tell you the truth, like after all the input that all the gamers put on for that particular title, everything met to the expectation. The game was a solid performer. It had great mechanics. It was an overall great game to play. And that's exactly what Microsoft needs to start doing. They need to start doing the beta testing, but don't charge for it. Like just bring the games out before they come out, have people test it out, get an input on how these games are going to be played by the gamers, and not just give it to some, a small amount that are only going to point out their only preferences for that game. Just bring it out to the general public, test it out, let us know, give us feedback, let us know exactly how the game is going to play, and we'll make improvements to fix it so that when we do the end product, you guys are going to be satisfied.
So in keeping with State of Decay, were you aware that only the host can progress in this game and the rest of the co-op team cannot progress?
Wow, that's a shame, man. That's a shame.
So
Wow.
the way I the way I term that is basically the host is the pimp and everybody else is the prostitutes working for him. Go out and get those kills for me so I can progress. Um,
Wow. That sucks. That really that's a low blow, man. Because there's a lot of co-op games where you actually have progressive, achievements that are being, distributed entirely. It's not just one person doing the whole thing and then everybody else gets, the short end of the stick. Like everybody has to contribute to the actual progression of that mission or that certain particular sortie or that certain particular part of the game where you guys have to work as a cooperatively as a group. And that's a low blow, man. I find that to be they got to fix that pronto.
yeah, I think that's a backbreaker because I I would have no interest in playing this game whatsoever if I'm coming in, uh, as a member of the group and I'm going out and getting all these kills and I'm not getting any progression for it. I'm not getting any perks. I'm not getting any XP, what have you. And that I really don't know what they were thinking, shoveling out a game with those kind of mechanics.
Yeah, man. It's a sad state for the Xbox community, man. And what makes it more worse is that these fanboys on a daily basis just to try to damage control the whole scenario, try to damage control their opinions, their self-based opinions. that do not reflect on anything other than just, hey, Microsoft is not doing good with these games. It has to be pointed out, and I think that the general public, even casual gamers, are gonna see the reasons why we hardcore gamers are pointing these little things out, because it really is something that debilitates the game and it brings it down where you cannot enjoy it. You can really bask in the game and say, you know what, I'm gonna actually enjoy the whole experience with Sea of Thieves. Believe me, I gave this game the most utmost chance to even play it. Fatal Mosquito, man, yo, you have a broad imagination to play that game, but that Sea of Thieves is just like, I can't deal with it. It's too mundane for me. It doesn't have any content. It's too shallow, and it didn't provide the entertainment value that I was looking for. I was excited for the announcement when they showed the game. I thought it was something that's, artistically different. It what the concept of, the pirates, something that I enjoyed watching the series, and I thought that that would have, translate into a, but it felt very short, and it's just I'm just hoping that Microsoft takes notes and use these missteps to improve upon their whole logic behind gaming. Yes, single player based games are one and done games, but guess what? They actually people more games. They actually help motivate people to go out and buy these consoles to have that single base player experience, because at the end of the day, multiplayer genre is so saturated, so like you see a first person shooter, even though it doesn't change the narrative. It's so saturated that these are needed for that balance, and that's just the way I feel about it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, got a couple of people in the comments that I want to respond to. Almighty Spartan guy, what's going on, bro? Phantom Mephisto, the Canadian grizzly bear, what's going on, my friend? And Ryan Landis, what's going on? He said right here, I watched some early access streams on this game. It looks more like an open world game that happens to be co-op. They should have sent that message instead of the social online message. A single player can leave the impact on the user experience. That 5 years, 10 years down the line, we will revisit those games. Probably not with me. But moving on to the next question.
Mhm.
Now that everybody knows about State of Decay, do you think Microsoft will stream another episode of Inside Xbox and try to give it that AAA hype like they did with Sea of Thieves?
More than likely, yeah, you're gonna expect something like that, because at the end of the day, Microsoft has to make a form of advertisement for their product. So I wouldn't be too surprised. There is something that they have to do in order to get the attraction. The only problem is that the attraction will lead to people stating that, hey, this game is incomplete. You're gonna see the same, pretty much the same reaction as the last Inside Xbox episode from last year. It's gonna be dull. It's gonna be boring, and a lot of people are gonna be complaining. And the same repetitive, how should we put it? The same repetitive wait till E3. Yes, it's gonna be said a whole lot more. Wait till E3 for what they have in E3. And quite frankly, it's been 13, and that's been the same narrative every single year. So how long the actual hardcore fan base for Xbox is going to tolerate the whole wait till E3 the
Yeah, I caught most of that. You bought it on me a little bit, but I caught most of it.
oh man.
Let me see. Let's see. We got something from Simon Jarrett. It's funny when people say single player games are one and done. Are back compatible games one and done too? I mean, yeah, pretty much. I mean, yeah, it's a one and done. But so my next question is that, speaking of E3, do you think the situation with State of Decay puts even more pressure on Microsoft to deliver a huge E3?
Uh, I think they're gonna have to show up for E3. It is a do or die as far as and strategy to to entice the audience. It is something that it's needed. It's something that people are going to look forward to, especially the hardcore fan base. They're going to look forward to what Microsoft has to offer for the future. Now, the case situation, what I see is that they need to just make sure that these couple of weeks that they have before the game's release, they take care of those little problems going in head first and rush and push this game out. No, if you need to make a delay for the game for another month, go do so. Just make sure that you give a product that is finished, not no PUBG scenario, not no CFD scenario kind of base games. Just give us something that is going to be actually finished and that people will enjoy. As far as I'm concerned, E3 is their do or die for certain reasons. Not completely, but for certain reasons.
Okay. So we had PUBG, Sea of Thieves, and now we have State of Decay 2. That makes the third consecutive offering from Microsoft that was either broken or incomplete. What does that tell you about the Xbox brand?
What that tells me in exact is that we've been saying this for so long now. The developers are key to making a game great. The developers, ones that actually use their methods to portray their art form. And if they don't have any ambition or anything other than just, hey, I just want to get paid and just throw something that's half-assed, that's what you're gonna get. Ass game, unfinished, you know, performance bugs, the whole thing, everything that you despise as a player to play a game. Typically, what this developers are doing, they're not providing enough emphasis on quality. They're just going for a quick buck.
I definitely agree. Comment real quick from the chat from Savage Uger. If Microsoft going to release these games unfinished, why didn't they release these games last year? That's a good question. Along with the other 30-something indie games that they showed last year at E3 that we haven't seen yet. So Carlos, given the three games that I just mentioned, do you think Crackdown 3 will release polished, broken, or canceled altogether?
Um, well, to the best of my knowledge, and I'm gonna answer this to the best of my ability, and I'm gonna be quite frank. I think that they can make it happen. The question is, are they willing to make it happen? Because once again, the developer has all the cards on the table, and if they want to pull out a joker, they're gonna pull out a joker and laugh at everybody and just gonna run away with their money. And end of the day, now, if you want to set the standard and you want to be the next, the next studio that actually gives a damn about your art form, you're gonna make sure that that art presented, well made, and actually executed to the point where, hey, we have made something that people are gonna enjoy. Hopefully, Crackdown 3 will give Microsoft that little push that they need in order to obtain a little bit more a little bit more steam with their whole advertisement and capital gain for the One X. But it's a hard tenure.
Mm-hmm. A couple of more comments. What's good, Vidiot? What's going on? Craig Harris, what's going on? Shout out to you, my brother. Ryan Landis. PUBG was broken and Sea of Thieves is incomplete, but they sold well. That sucks for players that want quality. But the fact of the matter is, and I hate to keep, throwing the Sony name into this, but do you really think, Ryan, that if Microsoft had the amount of exclusives that Sony does, along with that kind of quality that Sony does, do you really think that PUBG and Sea of Thieves would be big hits, or even State of Decay 2 coming up? You know,
Hmm.
I'd have to really question that. So I think these games are selling well, not because they're fun, it's because they're starving over there. And I've said it
Yeah,
before,
pretty much.
you know, if if all you got to feed them is a can of pork and beans, they're going to go through it quick. It's just it is what it is. So
Pretty much. You, hey, farm animals will eat slop if they have to in order to stay full.
yeah,
And right now, the state of Xbox gaming is at a low point where, hey, the fans are practically just trying to take anything that they can in order to, to consume their entertainment feel. And practically, that's where the state of gaming for Xbox is at. Like, it's very shallow. Like, there's nothing for them to actually say, hey, we're gaming good over here.
hmm
Meanwhile, Sony, I mean, look at God of War. Just one game with one release, and Sony has pretty much dominated half of the year already.
yeah, they have, and yes, I don't know what they're thinking about over there, but your response, keeps the ball rolling right on into my next question. Do you think we will see any more AAA exclusives from Microsoft this generation?
Hey, anything is possible. If they continue to push and strive for something as far as, AAA exclusivity, they can do so. Question is, are the companies that are producing these games by the AAA titles, are they willing enough to take the hit and the criticism by Microsoft? That's where the big question is at. Are they willing to take that risk and say, you know what, we're willing to partner with Microsoft, we're willing to take the chance to develop and hey, let's bring you some new consumers so that they can actually see the power of the world's powerful console. Because again, everything was about power. Now the power is there, but the games are not delivering. So I mean, it's up in all developers and what they want to do with that power.
Yeah, I agree. And then when they unveiled the Xbox One X at E3 last year, I remember Phil Spencer saying that I think he said all your third party games are going to look and run better. Uh, so I think what people took from that was that, wow, if this is what third party games are going to look like, imagine what exclusives are going to look like. So he said it to he told everybody that this was going to be a third party console, but their delivery was so slick that they had everybody thinking that Microsoft was going to be putting out some monster exclusives moving forward, and the graphics, the fidelity and stuff like that was going to completely blow everything out of the water that wasn't a PC. Xbox Video says Microsoft has let its fans down so much this generation that even really big announcements are received with skepticism, even from the diehard fans. And you're absolutely right, Vidiot. I mean, I think the only people that's left, in Microsoft's camp is pretty much the ones that got that big green X, tattooed on their chest. I think the rest of them about ready to get out of here. So
And pretty much, shout out to Video, man. Hey, once again, fans feel for your company. That's the way they're gonna feel about everything else when you bring it out. And
mhm.
that's just the backlash of all of those false promises that they have made throughout the years. And hardware is something that is important, but it is not the selling point of everything. Because it's just like buying a car. If you're gonna buy a car, you're gonna buy a car because you want it to perform to your standards. If you're a performance junkie, you want to have the best suspension, best tires, best power to weight ratio, good gearing, high top speed. You want all of those things included into that one car. Just selling the car and stating that the car does well, but that it doesn't perform to the standards of that person is a big letdown. And that's exactly what Microsoft is doing. They're letting down the hardcore base fans that have actually supported them throughout the years. And practically they're just giving them the very short end of the stick and telling them, hey, either you suck it up or just move on.
Yeah, definitely. Agreed 100%. So my next question is a question that left me scratching my head. So according to Satya Nadella, Xbox has the highest engagement in the marketplace. What do you think he meant by that?
All right, man. If you're gonna be in engagement, that means that you literally are gonna turn on your console and maybe you see an advertisement from Xbox and you click on that. That's actually engaging into a sense. Even starting up the boot menu for the game itself, and you start the game, that's engagement. Uh, Chatting with people online, that is engagement. But that concept of trying to translate it into a profitable statement, it really falls to false ears because you're not stating actual numbers. You're actually stating numbers of people that are actually using the console. That doesn't translate to how much the console has sold, how much revenue that you guys are actually give. You can throw me a 2.25 billion revenue number and say that you're doing well. It's the biggest ruse in all of marketing. You will tell the general public that you're doing good, but then in the back of the whole warehouse, you already know that you have a backlog of unused product that you can't sell, and you're gonna try to play it off. That's the biggest rules in marketing. And so many people, especially the ones that you already know, like to tout and shout about Microsoft's billions and billions of dollars and their shareholders and all this crap. Dude, it's simple economics. A company will make a ruse and state a statement of making profit without even making any profit at all.
Agreed. I find that amazing that they can't seem to release any sales numbers when it comes to gaming, like Sea of Thieves, for instance. They couldn't give any actual sales numbers of what the game did, but yet they were able to tell you that there was 2 million users on there. Which actually that's going to lead to a question that was unscripted. Uh, but you know, I guess with this $2 million. Goodness gracious, I lost my train of thought for a second because I know it was going to be related to this money that they claim they're making, the sales numbers that they don't release, the user engagement. Oh, that was my question.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, I guess according to, I think it was Foxy Games UK, I was watching his video, and according to him, half of the Game Pass subscribers canceled their subscriptions once the trial period was up. Does that surprise you?
It doesn't surprise me one bit because as the saying goes, when something is free, you enjoy it for the moment. Once they start charging you, you head to the hills. So pretty much that sums up the whole Game Pass analogy. Like everything is a marketing strategy, and some will succeed and others will fail. In Microsoft's favor, it did kind of led to a little bit of a success rate, but it wasn't a substantial success rate. It was more of a niche kind of succession. So for me, Game Pass is good for only for those who are actually owning PCs and they want to play, Microsoft based exclusives on their PC. That's where the whole installment base is at. That's where the emphasis was at. They were trying to get all those PC gamers. PC gamers are a worldwide base fan base that is very large, and they are very heavily supported by these companies. And Microsoft, being the are, they want to they want a piece of that pie. They want to make sure that they'll get their name out there with the PC community and say, you know what, we have these exclusives, but you can actually use it enjoy it as well. The whole Game Pass situation, it's a hit or miss.
Yeah, it definitely is, and my next question is definitely going to make that belief all the more interesting. But first I want to respond to a comment from Xbox Video where he says it doesn't make sense, since PS4 has the highest install base. That's going back to what he was saying about the engagement. Now that word is such a wide, the definition of that word is so wide open that as far as I'm concerned, the definition of engagement is simply turning the console on. With that being said, it would seem like the engagement on the PS4 would outnumber the engagement on the Xbox 2-1.
Yeah.
But they, how Microsoft is, they find a way to bend and twist and um, create these fake stats and these fake titles that fits their narrative. But while we're on the subject of Game Pass, did you know that Game Pass is getting a price hike in Europe?
Oh, that's not gonna be good then, because if they're trying to, trying to shove that price hike, then you're really gonna see that engagement, that quote unquote engagement, go down even way lower. Just keep it at a set price. I mean, people are, people are contenting themselves with a set price. They won't need to. You don't need to put such a high price on a service that is not doing well enough. With how people are dropping out from the program, it's better if you keep it at that same price that you have it at, and eventually you're gonna see more people just catch that little interest in it. I'm still subscribed to the Game Pass. Don't get me wrong. I'm a gamer. I'm not gonna pass up on free games. I'm gonna pay for my subscription, enjoy it, and the games that are being provided through Game Pass. But they need to think twice before making that move. It's not even a year yet, and now you're talking about a price hike. Doesn't make no sense. So they're desperately trying to do something in order to create a wave, but at this moment that shouldn't even be an incentive to push forward to. Just leave it at the set price, let it catch fire, and then eventually people will start talking more about it. Because I know pretty much worldwide, Game Pass is not everywhere, but once people catch on to it, it'll definitely create a buzz for them. Just leave it at the set price.
I agree, and let me respond to Xbox Video. He said PSN got a price hike in Europe about a year ago. Video, I understand how it works. Everything is going to get a price hike at some point. And and during the PS3 generation, I think the biggest reason why they didn't charge for the PlayStation Network is because they didn't have Party Chat, and that was the one thing that separated the PlayStation Network from Xbox Live, and it was enough to me. It was enough to make a difference. So when this generation started and they put the Party Chat into the consoles, it was only a matter of time before they were going to charge for that. So and so the reason why I brought that question up, Vidiot, about the price hike in Europe, you're going to see where I'm going with this with my next question. So Carlos, it's only a matter of time before Game Pass gets a price hike in the U.S. And given the
Pretty
lack,
much.
yep, and given the lack of current generation exclusives and the service being comprised of last generation titles, do you think that price hike is justified?
Once again, I think is only justifiable if it has a prolonged duration, when it's been out for maybe 3 or 4 years, maybe two. But if it's only been out for a couple of months, it doesn't justify it because you don't have that much of an installment base to actually support that. So them trying to do that is just trying to make sure that they get a profit out of something. And that's another tactic that you use in order to get a substantial gain of income for a failing percentage in your eyes. That's just the way everything that Microsoft does is objectified to their um to their stockholders. And if they feel a certain way about a certain purchase or a certain program that is not doing well, they're gonna let Microsoft know, like, listen, You're not doing that great. So we need you to, fix this right now. And I
Mhm,
mean now. And
mhm.
that's exactly how they're seeing it. They wanna they want their investors to be happy with them so that therefore the money that they have, they can continue to providing these services at a set price. But given a price hike like that and that fast, it really will impact them in a negative way.
Absolutely. And so, and you just hit it right there on the head. Almighty Spartan God, you said it was holiday 2016 that Sony raised the price of the PSN. So with that being said, they waited about 2 years before they raised the price. Okay, so how long has Game Pass been out? Only a few months, and they've already raised the price.
Pretty much.
So that was my biggest thing with the price hike. $3 a month. It's yeah, that's not that bad, but Game Pass has not been out that long. It is comprised of mostly 360 titles, and which that's in my rear view mirror. If I wanted to play any 360 titles, I would have kept my 360. My if I were to get on board with Game Pass, it is because I would want to play all the new games and try out new games and new experiences without ponying up the $60 for it. So I find,
Mhm.
but I would not expect anything less than that from Microsoft to jack that price up, and it's only been out a few months. That's you know, it's I guess they continue to keep us entertained, that's for sure. And so,
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
practically where they'll throw their little rules here and there just to just to stoke the fire a little bit, just to get a little reaction from the fans and the fanboys, just to to have them talk about something. Reality, if it's a failure, it's something that's going to be apparent. And once you start seeing price hikes, or once you start seeing announcements, you already know that they're going to try to come up with some form of way to to push that narrative, and that's exactly what they're trying to do right now. Even with a couple of months, like it shouldn't be that much of a big case to go forward and give a price hike for what? What's wrong with it? What's not being done to actually advertise it the right way and the proper ways for that you can so that you can actually make that price hike for the consumer. And that's where the big if is at. Like I just don't see no point in doing that at this time.
mm-hmm. I agree 100%. Thrash was right. He said that they were going to raise the price, and they did. I just didn't think it was going to happen this soon. I thought they'd maybe wait 6 months, a year, maybe even wait until the next generation starts out when they have a bunch of games that would justify it. With all these games that's supposed to be coming out in a year or two, whatever they with all these rumors they've been talking about. So, but moving on to the next question, as you probably know, Xbox, the Xbox became upset when it was revealed that Halo is going to PC. And gamers are saying that Microsoft cares more about the PC landscape than they do about the Xbox brand. Do you think there's some truth to that?
I mean, it's a double-edged sword in my opinion. You either gonna die by it or you're gonna try to swing at it. And quite frankly, Microsoft is swinging at the PC. They already know that there's a lot of a lot of potential gain and a lot of earnings that they can actually say we're because we need the money, and quite frankly, only rely on the console fan base to give us what we need. And that's where that double-edged sword rule applies. It's something that it can either make you or you can kill him. And quite frankly, if you already seen, I mean, Steam has been out for a couple of years, and it's one of those services where it's actually beneficial for the gamers and the consumers. It has you could practically get old games on Steam for like maybe $5, even $10. They have flash sales where you can actually purchase even newer games at a discounted price. So Microsoft sees this and they want to, they want to capitalize on that. And that's where that basis of, we're going to edge on to going to PC is for that simple reason. They want to, they want to make a buck. They want to make the Xbox a multi console based service. At the end of the day, that is exactly where their mindset is at. They're not going to focus as much on this generation with the hardware for that simple reason because of the way things are going for them. But in the near future, who knows? They might even come out with a console that's actually based on that same ideology of just being on multi platforms or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, no doubt. For the most part, I caught part of your answers. I caught about 3/4 of it. You did a little bit of botting on there, but I caught most of the answer. Xbox Vidiot and Spartan God, Halo 1 was on PC and so was 2. Yeah, I get that. But it still doesn't change the fact that the Xbox got upset when they learned that, Halo was going to go to PC. And
Yeah.
as an Xbox One owner, I really wouldn't care what goes to PC if it's still available on the Xbox. But looking at the big picture, which that was going to be my next question, if that demonstrates that they care about the PC landscape more than they do about about the console gamers that made the Xbox brand what it is, then yeah, I'd be a little concerned. But while we on that subject, do you think that Microsoft's venture into PC gaming, along with Game Pass, is the writing on the wall that Microsoft is going to get out of the console business?
It might and it might not. It all depends substantially on what are they willing to lose and what are they willing to gain. If they do that, if they go to the route of going to, full on PC service and going to multiple platforms, then yeah, there's a substantial gain for them as far as longevity wise. They won't have to rely too much on hardware, more on software based services. If they continue to do the hardware, then they're gonna have to improve on the ecosystem. They're gonna have to buy new developers and studios so that they can actually stay afloat for the next couple of years and make it happen. Those are those things that are just unpredictable because we cannot predict the future. And as just a stepping stone for them to say, either we originally intended pays as or we just go in the direction and do much to risk and succeed from it. And that's very hard to come and answer properly because at this moment right now, it's so Microsoft that you can't predict where you're gonna move to.
You still with me? You still with
How
me,
they
fam?
gonna
Okay, because you bought it terribly on that one. I missed most of the answers on that one.
opinion? Yeah, there's always above. There's a lot of things that are not being done right at this moment with Microsoft, and it's again it's like that double edged sword mentality that's really putting them in the corner that they're in right now.
Yeah. Let me respond to a couple of things. Jay Wags, what's going on? Yeah, Carlos is botting real bad. He's at work and he's tapped into their Wi-Fi. So you know how that goes when you get to fucking with that commercial Wi-Fi. It don't always go very good. And Ryan Landy says that Microsoft is scrambling Carlos' signal. It's been hit or miss. He's been pretty clear, but that last question that I asked him, That's a good one, Jay Wags. Um, and I've said that already before that I really do plan on taking the cameras into the gym once my shoulder gets better. I'm still experiencing some discomfort. This has been going on now for a couple of months, but I've been through it before. I hurt my shoulder in the gym before, and it took me about 2 months to recover from that. But the way things are right now, I can still lift, but I can't do any heavy shit. No bitching, no 275 and stuff like that. So, but I can still do some other exercises, and I'll get them in there. And before I get to Carlos on the next question, Jay Wags, I want to get to Draco Rex next on the show, and then if you're available, in a week or so, I want to get you on there after that, because I'm sure Microsoft is going to provide us with some more interesting shit. So
Yeah, as of lately, man, has been very interesting for the past couple of months.
yeah. Now moving on to the next question, slowly but surely, I'm hearing that YouTubers and gamers are trading in their Xbox One X's for PlayStations, or they're taking the money towards building PCs. Have you heard anything like that?
As of yesterday, one of my good friends, he goes by the name Alex Escobar, and shout out to him. He actually sold his One X included with the CFD's special edition controller. I think a 12 months of Game Pass and a wireless headset, all for 550. So that pretty much tells you exactly the state of mind that most of the fans are at right now. They're either contemplating on holding on, or just give into the temptation, get themselves a different console and play on other games. Because I mean, backwards it's something that's fun. It's something that do when they want to get that nostalgic feeling that they had back when they was playing when they were younger.
Mm-hmm.
Into that. But at the same time, I'm the type of person that will never get rid of the stuff that he doesn't need to get rid of in order to go back to it. So by having backwards compatibility is the same scenario that Sony had when they had the PS3. The backwards compatibility was nice to have, but it wasn't really a console seller. It wasn't really the reasons why you wanted to have the PS3. The only reasons why you wanted to play on the PS3 is because you had games like Lair, you had Gran Turismo 5, you had Uncharted, you had those games that actually brought the attention to certain gamers to go to that console and play it. With this whole 4K redemption stuff and 4K Battlefront and all these other old games playing at 4K, yeah, it's fun to go back and revisit those games, but it's really not the actual price point that I will hold the console to. Because if I'm purchasing a 4K console, I'm expecting that console to have at least one or two titles. I'm not saying to bring out 7, 5 titles all at one time, but at least two well done titles that will actually merit my purchase for that console. At the end of the day, that's what we get new consoles for: newer games and newer adventures and newer things to look forward to. If I want to play my old stuff, hey, I can crack on my old PS2 on my monitor because I have a HDMI adapter that I bought a couple of years back, and my
Mm-hmm.
PS2 plays very well on my monitor. And if I want to go play some Tokyo Extreme Racing 3 or some Onimusha or some Metal Gear Solid, I turn on my PS2 and reminisce on that. But as for me to say, oh, I want Sony to give me backwards compatibility, it's not a large emphasis for me because I still own those consoles. I know that a lot of people don't have those consoles and that they have, sold their consoles just to get the newer ones. But a person like me, I have that analogy down packed. I'm not gonna purchase a newer console and sell my old one just in case if I still, because I want to go back to them once in a while. And then
Mm-hmm.
that's just the way it is.
Right. Let me respond to a couple of more comments. Jay Wags, speaking of which, Carlos, we just got an invitation from Jay Wags. He said we can join this podcast tomorrow. He'd love to have us on his podcast tomorrow. He said it's going to be crazy. So Yeah, definitely count me in, J Wags.
Count me into.
And then what else? What else do we got? Oh, and then as far as you being last, fact of the matter is, Jay, I asked Draco Rex to come on the show about I think about 3 weeks ago, but I actually slipped Titanfall Princess and Carlos Fernandez in front of him. So I put him on the back burner long enough. It's time to get him on the show. Why? Because I needed some time to come up with some questions for him, especially with him, with fighting games being his preferred, genre. And Craig Harris, you sold your X for some magic beans. While we were on that subject about people getting rid of their Xbox One X's, Craig Harris, he opened up one of his streams saying that somebody that he knew got rid of the Xbox One X. We know Hardy got rid of his Xbox One X a long time ago. And then this, I think this German guy called Mads Gaming, he just got rid of he just got rid of his Xbox One X, and he just picked up a PlayStation Slim, and the money that he got for his Xbox One X, he's going to use it to build a PC. So wow. Wow. I mean, I'm wondering if this is, if that kind of stuff's going to pick up steam as more and more people going to get rid of the Xbox One X's, moving forward, especially if Microsoft don't put out any, worthwhile exclusives. Oh, and that's what I was going to talk about. Somebody mentioned something about the Shadow of the Tomb Raider was going to be 4K 60. I mean, yeah, that's all good. That's all good, but the fact of the matter is, it's not an Xbox exclusive. I know it's going to be coming to the PlayStation at some point,
and it's going to be on PC eventually. So it doesn't really make no sense to. You see, this is the thing that I really don't like about certain people. Like, they try to push that, oh, it's going to be 4K 60. It's going to do this. It's going to be better than the PS4 Pro. But hey, newsflash, it's going to be on all consoles, and it's going to be at 1080p 60 on the PS4. It's going to be 1080p 30 or whatever the case may be. It's going to be on all consoles. It's not going to be something that's, oh, the head turner. Yeah, they'll claim the 4K 60, but how long and how well it will perform to the 4K 60, the whole 4K 60 spectrum. Because look for example, look at there's only like so much titles that do 4K 60 on the One X. And it's not very, it doesn't sustain it for that long. Maybe 25 to even 75% of the time. So you're actually going to have downsampling. You're going to have a lot of things that are going to be being used to achieve that 4K 60, and it's going to hinder the console, a little bit. So kudos to the developers from Tomb Raider to actually tout that, but it's not the selling point for that game. I'm actually looking forward to see how the story of the game is going to be, as to oppose of the resolutions and all this other stuff. I'm looking at the actual contents within the game. How does the game mechanics play? How does the storyline play? And overall, the entertainment and replay value of the game.
Yeah, exactly. And then my whole point is I've never played any of the Tomb Raider games, but even if I did, my stand on that is that that game is not the 4K 60, even if it was native 4K 60 frames uncompromised, like they had touted so many times at E3. Even if that were the case, it's still not enough to make me jump up and buy an Xbox One X when I have a PlayStation Pro. If this game is going to run 60 frames per second on the Xbox One X, I'm led to believe that, like somebody said in the comments section, it's probably going to be dynamic 4K, maybe even checkerboarded. But my guess is that, it'll probably do 60 frames per second on the PlayStation as well. It's probably just a matter of whether it's going to be at 1440p or 1080p.
Yeah,
because I don't see developers messing around with these frame rates, trying to make, cater to, every single console specifically. I think they just gonna, say, hey, this is what it's gonna do. We'll make the resolution adjustments, as we go. That's kind of what I'm led to believe on that.
You know what's the funny
So
part of you know what's the funny part about that? Like me as playing on PC, I think 1440p 60 is the most very fluid and most beautiful reiteration of any gaming tech, any game that runs at that resolution, you really are not gonna really feel left out from eye candy. It's actually a great format to look at the games. The details are very good, and it doesn't really matter because when you put like how Solid Rev did last night, he posted up a picture of Doom on the Xbox One X and Doom on the PC running at 1080p ultra details, right? Everything was blown so vividly that you couldn't really tell the difference between the One X and the PC. And mind you, the PC was running at 1080p 60 ultra settings. And this is where this whole resolution and all 4K this, 4K that, it doesn't really suffice for anything. If the game plays and performs well at any resolution, you shouldn't worry about if it does 4K. You shouldn't worry about if it does 1440p. You shouldn't worry about if it does even 1320p or whatever the case may be. The only concern that you should have as a player, as a gamer, as a tech head is whether it performs to your standard and if it does it well. And that's where the point should be at. 1440p for me is my perfect setting for any game to perform well without no dips, without no problems. If they can actually do that with the One X, we wouldn't have this discussion right now. We wouldn't be doing these videos bashing Microsoft for having an underperforming hardware. Because time and time again, it has been proven that even the strongest console can also have its faults. It can also have its underperforming, you know, advantages and overperforming advantages over the next competitor. Great example, the Nintendo 64 versus the PS1. The 64 was a 64-bit processing powerhouse. It was something that was, years ahead of its time, but it lacked content. It lacked it games. And Sony capitalized in the market by what? Releasing content and releasing a profitable system. They bring down the price, they made more money, they made open up more studios, and you guessed it, Sony had made what, close to like 101 million consoles sold in that era compared to the 24 to 25 that the Nintendo 64 sold. So that whole power narrative is only just sufficable for people who are chasing for performance, not for those who are actually looking forward to playing a game just because of the way it's played.
mhm. I agree. Let me see here. Yeah, you got the best version of the multiplats, huh? Yeah, you might be right, J Wags, but I said it from the get-go. $500 for some graphics that's only a micro thin slice better than the PS Pro. Ain't gonna work with me. You guys go ahead and do what you do over there on that Xbox One X. I'm fine with my PlayStation Pro. May sound like a jet, but I'm fine with it. You know, and switching gears, uh, uh, flipping over to the other side. I assume you have God of War. Do you
Oh
not?
yes,
Okay,
yes I do.
how do you like the game, and how far have you progressed in the game percentage wise? Like are you like 25% through 50? Where do you think you at?
I'm close to like about 25. Tell you the truth, honestly, since I've been working so much, because I work from 2:30 to 10:30 Monday through Fridays. So whatever time I have during the morning, I'll try to dedicate to playing the game. Now the weekends is the different scenario. I have put a little bit of time into it, and so far, this game has put me in a sense where I'm actually liking the Norse mythology. I've been on YouTube listening to these Norse mythologies and all the stories behind the gods in Norse kingdom. Like Asgard is a very beautiful and eloquent story, man. And a lot of people should thank Corey Balrog and Santa Monica Studios for introducing that side of the mythology because it's something that's you have to really listen to what what these stories are based on. It opens your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And shout out to everybody who has been playing it, who has been enjoying it. I'm for myself, I'm enjoying it a whole lot. I like the way the game plays. I like how they went a different direction and not just stick with the old hack and slash and just be the angry Kratos. They took a subtle approach with Kratos. They made him more human than God, and that's something that is very hard to pull off. And they did it quite well with this game. This game is a 10 out of 10 for me all across.
Yeah, they definitely made the perfect balance with that game, with him struggling as a father, but yet, at the same time, he knows when to get savage. He'll get savage when he has to. So he's not, I think it's a perfect balance, and I definitely like that. Um, so my next question is, let me pull this up so I can make sure I phase this right, so I don't ask the question wrong. Um, so the next generation hasn't even started yet, and some gamers have already declared the PS5 the winner. Do you agree with that?
Oh man, listen, y'all just gotta wait till that system drops whenever it's possible. You can make all the analogies that you want. You can say everything that you want about it until Microsoft or Sony decides to release the actual specs on these consoles. We will never know. We can only speculate. We can only hope that they do these things that we're actually, trying to point out. But as far as everything goes, we just gotta wait and see, man. I mean, for me, Sony will actually 5 somewhere. That's gonna be the year that they actually take the stride into announcing the console. On Microsoft behalf, I wouldn't go as far as trying to say to bring out another console next year because you're practically killing off the one that you just made. So I would rather wait probably a year after or 2021 to release the newer Xbox, bigger splash, and say, you know what, we have listened to the cries, the gamers across everywhere, and this is the definitive Xbox that is going to gaming in terms of content, in terms of graphics, in terms of everything that is needed in order to push the console further more. And that's where I see it at. I'm just waiting to see what is going to be brought out next.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm not going to make any predictions and say whether this the next generation is already won before it starts, but I will say that based on what these companies are doing right now, the PS5 is a day one purchase for me, whereas the Xbox Two is not. They are going to have to work hard to win me over, because the current state of Microsoft right now is dismal in terms of their exclusives, and they just don't seem to want to make an effort. At least the rest of this generation, it seems like they've already leaped forward to the next generation with all these leaks and rumors and what have you. It sounds to me like they're getting their exclusives, all this stuff ready for Game Pass, probably to go ahead and say goodbye to the console business. But we'll see.
Well,
Uh,
I mean, with time, I'm not, guys. I am not here to bash Microsoft. I want Microsoft to do better, and the only way better is if you can take constructive criticism from the actual consumers. If they can do that, they can push forward and they can actually make improvements to their. We're not here to bash it. We're just here to say what we see that's wrong with it. And I want Microsoft to succeed. Don't get me wrong. I want them to actually do better than what they're doing right now. But as of lately, it's been something that's like lacking. There's nothing that they're doing that actually is making it worth saying, you know what? I want to buy an Xbox. My whole perspective on that when I saw the One X, I was like, wow, boundaries of gaming. Like I was almost sold to it. Once I start seeing the whole comparisons between PC the PS4 Pro, the PS4 Pro, the PS4 base. I was like, wait, it's only doing maybe 35 to 45% better than the Pro. It's still underperforming even to high end PCs. So what is the purpose of me, or what does it warrant me to buy a console at this price point? And am I willing to even sacrifice the time to wait for these exclusives? My whole pattern of thought just came down to, and then I said, you know what? I'm gonna get me a PC. My brother-in-law actually gave me a PC out from his job as a pre-built, is a Dell Optiplex 90 iCore 7 fourth generation processor. I have 20 gigabytes of RAM installed on it. I have a RX 580 Red Devil GPU, and I still have some other old GPUs that I have from a previous build that a friend of mine gave me. They were both AMD 7850 Radeons that are still in my possession. But it just drew me more to the PC side because, once again, most of the exclusives were going to be put onto PC. So I said, you know what? I'll go where the power is at, but where the reliability, and I know that I'm going to be future proof and I'm not going to have to be waiting on exclusives because I could still play on EA Origins, I could still play on Steam, and I could play the Microsoft exclusives. So that's why I went to the PC route for my sake, because I wasn't going to pay $500 on a console and then end up a couple of months down the line selling it because there's nothing for it.
Oh, absolutely. Actually, speaking of PC, it was my intentions to build a PC this year, a gaming PC, but that didn't play out as planned because I had got laid off from a job that I was at for 10 years just this past December. And so I had to hang on to the money that I had, so, I made some moves, paid my rent up for like 5 or 6 months. Um, what have you. So I couldn't jump up and do any splurging and any reckless spending. So getting a PC is still in the cards for me, but it's probably not going to happen until next year, until I know that everything's secure. I'm working right now, and everything's fine at the moment. But we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, most
Maybe you know.
and
And I don't want to buy. I don't want to build any cheap bullshit. I want, like you said, I want to buy something that's going to be future proof for a few years.
yeah, not and this is the thing that most people will try to say, oh, you can't build the PC because you're gonna be having problems. So the same goes when you buy a console. You're gonna have problems. Not every ecosystem is built perfectly to cater to everybody's preference. The
Mm-hmm.
only thing that I can say, the advantages that you have when you build your own PC or when you buy a pre-built PC, is that you have multitaskability. It's not only just for gaming. You can have it as a workload bench for you to do your video software editing. You can do so much with your PC that you can't do on console. So it doesn't just stay relatively stuck to just games. You can use it for your YouTube editing. You can use it for so many things. But the thing about PC is that it gives you that much and more
Mm-hmm.
in terms of power, in terms of reliability, and in terms of longevity, because you don't really have to buy PC parts every year. You can hold 5, 7 years, even close to 10 years, until they release the next greatest and best GPU. That whole analogy, oh, I gotta buy this because this the best thing right now. No, your preference. If you're not the type to go, you're not the type to actually do overclocking, or you're going to do benchmarking, or you're going to do a lot of things that stresses the computer out a lot, then you can practically build yourself a mid to high PC with less than, even up to like even to $1,500 or even lower, and you can still play for years and not worry about, oh, I gotta upgrade this, I gotta upgrade that, because that whole, it's just, it depends on your pockets. It depends on how much money you are willing to spend to go into PC gaming. So PC gaming is for everyone. There is a level where you become a noob. There's a level become where you become, intermediate, and then you got the pro, the guys that spend anywhere from 10,000 to even freaking $20,000 on rigs that are like out of this world. Now, once you start hitting those boundaries, then you can say, okay, it's expensive. But to anybody that's starting out in PC, listen, it is not hard. It is not expensive. I actually presently in my card a build for my kids. I'm actually gonna do a video with them to show everybody how easy it is to build a PC from scratch. You need wobs of cash to build a $450 PC or $300 PC. You just need to know how to shop for the parts, and you need to know how to limit yourself to what you want to build. That's all that it is for PC gaming.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and and that's something I'm definitely going to take a look at when it's time for me to build a PC. I'm pretty much going to take a look at my budget, and then when I decide to build the PC, I'll probably follow someone else's video, so I know that I'm building, putting together a PC this has compatible parts, rather than just slapping together a bunch of stuff, and then we've got some programming conflicts when it's time to boot this thing up. So, but let me see here. So, as you know, Google is going to release a console here, and Sega is getting back into the console business. Do you think they can come in and shake up the current landscape when they release their consoles? Holy smokes. Did I lose you? Whoa, whoa, whoa. You with me, Carlos? Hmm. Looks like we lost Carlos. I don't know what happened. I think what I'll do is send him a another link. I only had one more question for him, but I still wanted to finish the podcast no less. So let me send him a link. Um, I don't know if he got disconnected or something, but he should be able to go back to the previous link that I sent him. He should be able to jump back in on that. It's still the exact same link. So, um, but if he doesn't come back, I'll just go ahead and finish this out. With my own thoughts. Um, yeah, Mr. Righteous Fish. Google is getting into the console business. What I don't know is exactly what they're going to do. I don't know if they're going to make a full blown console or if it's going to be some kind of Steam box. So we'll have to see how that plays out. And then, as far as Sega goes, I'm hearing that they're supposed to be coming out with a full blown console too. That's probably going to come out next generation. And so we'll see if they're going to have if it's going to be a strong enough console that's going to be within the ballpark of the PS5 and the Xbox 2, or we're going to see if it's going to be some a pretty weak console. We'll have to see how that all plays out. And so uh I guess while I've got a moment, I forgot to send some shouts out when the show first started. I definitely wanted to give a shout out to King Thrash, Draco, Xbox Vidiot, Craig Harris, Sick Humor TV, Titanfall Princess. Um, wow, it is a lot of them, a lot of people to give shout out to. Um, every time, every time I go on, and do a live stream, uh, I can't do the stream without thinking about the people to help me get to where I am right now. Um, and they've been a huge help, and I'm really grateful for it. And that's the type of person I am. I'll never forget it. You know, um, Sometimes I'll mention it so much it might get on people's nerves. Sometimes I may not mention it for a while, but it's always in my mind that I really appreciate the help that I've gotten from everyone that's helped me. And and I'm really enjoying this right now. And I've accomplished my goal. I'm sitting on 97 subscribers. Sick Humor set a goal for me that he said he's going to help me get to 100, and I know we're going to get there. But it's as I said before, if I don't pick up one single subscriber from this moment moving forward, I would be fine with that, because what's happening right now is what the goal was in the first place, was to have enough subscribers or friends that we can carry on the chat, carry on the conversation, that I can look at the chats and respond to a lot of people. So I definitely appreciate it. And so I guess coming up here in the next few days, my plan goes as schedules. I am going to plan on joining Jay Wags tomorrow. He's said he's going on at 8 Eastern, so I'm going to plan on joining him tomorrow. Friday, I'm not sure if I'm going to be streaming or not, because there might be a few things going on, and then I got my son on the weekend. So but make sure you can catch me. Make sure you catch me on the PlayStation Plus podcast with Sick Humor. Sundays we usually go on at about 11 a.m. Eastern, and make sure you catch us on the Roundtable podcast every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. So while we're on that subject, I definitely want to give a shout out to King Thrash, and send prayers out to him as he's dealing with adversity right now. And so while he tended to his family matters yesterday, he gave me the keys to the car and had me host a Roundtable podcast. So I definitely enjoyed doing that, aside from the mic issues that I had. So are you back, Carlos?
Yeah, I'm getting back. Had a little couple of things. I was still listening to you through the YouTube right here on the PC in my job. But
Okay.
just to go back on the whole Sega situation, um, practically what I see is just that they need to approach this as a threat lightly, but threat with the smartest intentions of making a great product. Don't just go the old mighty power route. Built a well balanced console just the same way as they did with the Sega Genesis, because the Sega Genesis was a pretty good system when it came out. Don't go the route with what they did with the Sega Saturn and the Dreamcast. It was all about power, but they didn't have that much content. I mean, great line. I would love to see a Ultra Beast, Obi, Outrun, all those old games, a little bit of flair to them with a new modern, better and every update to go that route.
Okay, that answer right there might have been your worst one yet, because that one was bot and terrible. But I did catch the part about what you were saying about the Sega console, where power isn't going to be necessary, where the content is going to be more important than the power, which they do have a lot of IPs. And I found that to be a coincidence. While we're on the subject of Sega, I found that to be a coincidence that that Microsoft, made that announcement that they had some kind of partnership, some kind of deal with Sega, and then a couple of weeks later they announced that they're coming out with a console. So it had me wondering, what this partnership with this deal is about. So I'm beginning to wonder, hey, is Sega going to come out with a console, and Microsoft is deciding to get out of the console business, and they're going to back Sega, whatever move they make, they're going to back them, stand behind them, move some of their games over to the Sega console. It really had me wondering, because I found that to be rather strange that they had that meeting with Sega, and then Sega comes out and announced that they're going to have coming out with a console. I found that really strange. But I only have one more question for you, Carlos, and that was for you to give me your E3 predictions.
E3 predictions. For me, Microsoft has to come out with great announcements, especially Crackdown 3. Like, I really want to play that game. They have to really bring out news on that game, so to the point where fans are not disappointed. Bring two new IPs, man. Like, just bring something to the table that's gonna actually captivate all gamers to say, you know what, you guys are going and doing great things for the gaming industry, and we're gonna acknowledge that. But as of right now, and what we're expecting is very little to none with what they're doing and how they're advertising themselves with what they want to do. So I just want a strong showing from them in reality, something that's gonna tell me, you know what, I might just bust a gun and purchase the Xbox One X just for that one game, just to play those exclusives. Because that's what really drove me to buying an Xbox in the first place. I wanted to play Halo, I wanted to play Gears, I wanted to play Forza, and I wanted to also play what other games that they had to offer when they came out. So this E3, I'm just hoping for the better and not the worse.
I definitely feel you on there. Mr. Righteous Fish, he says, I wondered that, especially since Microsoft used Sega Text on the Xbox. You know, it's just too much funny looking stuff going on right now, Righteous Fish. Uh, like I said, they had the meeting with Sega, and now Sega announces that, um, that they're coming out with a console. Microsoft's making all kinds of moves where they just don't seem to want to compete against the PlayStation. It seems like their mind is somewhere else. So it just I couldn't help but to wonder if they're getting ready to get out of the console business, and they went and told Sega, here's all our shit, we out of here. Um, but we'll see how that plays out. Um, there was something else I was going to say. I forgot. Oh my goodness, I hate it when it slips my mind like that. But that was it, for my line of questions. Did you have anything else you want to add?
Nah, man. I mean, I appreciate the extended welcome ship to your podcast, and I had a great time, man. I had a great time talking to you, listening to your point of views, and answering everything to the best of my ability and knowledge. And hey, if you need any suggestions on PC building, you can always ask me a question. I'm very knowledgeable in that part as well, and I'll help you through with whatever you need to buy. Me and Ryan, we always talk about PC parts and how we, need to improve upon our building our PCs and all this other stuff. So if you feel free, at the time, any place, you just let me know, call me up, or hey Carlos, there's something I want to ask you. So I mean, I enjoyed my welcome to the Lincoln Clay podcast, and kudos to you, and a big congratulatory for the 97 subs that you have. And also, I want to give I want to send out my condolences to Keen Thrash and his family in this moment of of hardship, and I hope that everything is going fine for him. And God bless. And things happen, but we're here for you.
No doubt. And before I close the show, I just wanted to remind you that Jay Wags said right there he will send us links to his podcast at 7:45. So definitely keep your eyes open for that. And
Oh yeah, I'm
and
gonna
then
have some fun, Max. Just wait and see, my brother. We gonna have some fun tomorrow.
yep. And while we talking to Jay Wags, Jay, when I get you on this show, I want you to be Jay Wags and nobody else. So if I present a question to you and it like it's a head scratcher, don't hesitate to say, how in the fuck are they gonna do something like that? Don't hesitate to be Jay Wags. I wouldn't have it any other way. You must be Jay Wags on this show. I wouldn't have it any other way.
And that rant video from last night, you had me. I was up at 3 in the morning watching Jay Wags go. Why is this going on? Why are they doing this? Like, it had me rolling, yo. Hey Wags, that was so far out, man. And shout out for doing that vid, man. You had me rolling last night.
Yeah, exactly. I like that video too. And can you swear? Absolutely, you can swear. Titanfall Princess had no filter on my show. I don't swear that much, but shit, I insist you swear. Like I said, I want you to be Jay Wags. Don't Don't, stick a handkerchief in your mouth, trying to be rated G on this channel. Speak, like I said, BJ Wags, even if you end up saying fucks 96,000 times, BJ Wags. And with that being said, it looks like it's about time to close the show. But I'd like to ask you again to come on the show again, Carlos, because it was definitely a good one. We got through it pretty good. There was some botting there, so there was a couple of times where I didn't catch enough of your answers, but for the most of the answers, I got enough of them. And so with that being said, I definitely want you to come back on the show again. Yo, thanks, Savage. I definitely want you to come on the show again, but the next time you come on the show, we can do it on a Sunday evening or something like that, on a day when you're not at work, where you can do it from your own computer or something.
Yeah, that'll definitely be something that I'll look forward to. And as always, man, it's a pleasure, and it was great, to have this little sit down and talk while I'm at work, because it gets boring at times. So, hey, anytime I'm available anytime for any podcast that you choose. It's all good with me.
Oh, no doubt about that. Speaking of which, while we're on that subject, I think like on like Fridays or something like that, I'm kind of like kind of wanting that to be like an open mic thing. If somebody happens to be in the chat, like you, Jay Wags, Fatal Mephisto, sick humor, whoever, if they happen to be in the chat, then I'll send them a link to come on in, and jump in. So, so we can kind of freestyle it, on a Friday or something like that. Because the last couple of times we did that, when I originally started out with the podcast being about the Black Ops not having a campaign, Jay Wags, Fatal Mephisto, and King Thrash jumped in there, and that was a awesome podcast. I mean, that turned out to be great. I mean, damn, I think we were on for about 2.5 hours. So I want to do more of that kind of stuff too. So
no, most definitely. I mean, man, all you have to do is just give me the invitation, and I'm here, man.
No doubt about that. It's there. So in closing the show, you want to go ahead and give them your outro?
Yeah, man. Yo, once again, man, it's your boy Type R87, aka Carlos Fernandez. Gaming by choice, not by trend. And I'm here with your boy Lincoln Clay, man, in the podcast, just having a good old time talking about gaming. And yo, make sure that you subscribe to the Lincoln Clay's channel, subscribe to my channel, check me out on Twitter at just me and my girls 4, and subscribe to my YouTube channel as well, Carlos Type R87 Fernandez, and check out my content, man. And if you like it, subscribe. If you don't, hey, more power to you.
No doubt about that. You heard it. You heard it from Carlos. So make sure you check out his page. Make sure you subscribe to him. Help support this man. Help him. Help his channel grow. I'm sure he would appreciate it, as he just said. And I appreciate everyone tuning in. Everyone that's subscribed to my channel. I appreciate the likes. I appreciate everybody tuning in. So with that being said, unfortunately, tomorrow we will be laying my grandmother to rest. But on the flip side of that, because I do not have to work tomorrow, I will be up all night. So I'm definitely going to get some gaming in tonight. And now that I've got a faster internet, I may possibly test it. I may possibly, stream some God of War or MLB The Show or something. So, we'll see how that goes, because this night is just getting started for me. The Lincoln show's about to close, but this night is just getting started for me. I'll keep my eyes open for other people that's in podcasts tonight. I'll jump in their chats, and comment and whatnot. But thanks everybody for watching. Really appreciate it. There was a lot of good topics in the chat tonight, and I really appreciate it. So with that being said, your boy Lincoln Clay and Carlos Fernandez, have a good night. We'll catch y'all later, and we are out.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.